Violent Night is directed by Tommy Wirkola and stars David Harbour as Santa Claus. When a group of mercenaries attack the estate of a wealthy family, Santa Claus must step in to save the day and Christmas. I didn't get a chance to see this movie last weekend because I took a short trip to LA for some Shelby Oaks stuff that I can't talk about yet, but I am very happy with how the trip went, and I will be sharing information with you early next year. It's good. It's very good. It is a good update. And we'll talk about it when the time comes, but that's why I was a little late seeing Violent Night. I went tonight and saw it, and I witnessed David Harbour kill a ton of people, and John Leguizamo eat this movie's scenery. So let's get the obvious out of the way. It's going to be impossible for you to watch or read a review for Violent Night that doesn't in some way mention Die Hard, Die Hard 2, or Home Alone. These movies are gigantic inspirations for Violent Night, so much so that the filmmakers had to actually acknowledge it when Santa reaches into his bag and pulls out a copy of Die Hard on Blu-ray. This film is essentially Die Hard. There's a vault in this house filled with potential money. There's a bunch of hostages. One unexpected guy who's taking them out one by one. It's just that he happens to be Santa Claus. There's even walkie-talkies. And in regards to Die Hard 2, there's a whole army of people on snow speeders, and there's various kills that resemble Die Hard 2 kills. And John Leguizamo, as I said, is in this movie, and he's also in Die Hard 2. There's an entire sequence that pays homage to Home Alone, and it's very funny and very gory. So we're kind of at this weird point where essentially we can kind of just be like, hey, do you want to do a movie that's basically that, but like change a few things and just have fun? And somehow that gets made. And despite the writer in me that wants to say, really? I had a total fucking blast with this movie, and I would watch it again. In fact, I probably will next Christmas. David Harbour as Santa Claus is one of those like perfect castings that you just look at and you go, of course. Of course. Why the fuck didn't anyone do that before? He's so likable in the film as a drunk Santa who is very tired of Christmas, who doesn't think anyone believes in him anymore, who leans over the side of his sleigh to barf on people. And his arc is really where the movie got its hooks into me, because there's this little girl in the movie who desperately believes in Santa Claus and basically is inspiring him to protect her and kill all of these people, even though the family that's being held hostage is kind of awful. They're all terrible people. The whole movie is filled with villains. There's only a few characters that you can actually get behind, which was a bit of an issue at first because I was wondering whose side I was supposed to be on. Obviously, Santa Claus and this little girl, but almost everyone in this family that's taken hostage is so awful that it's difficult to muster any feelings for them or worry about their safety. But where this movie shines is when it just leans into exactly what it is, which is Die Hard with Santa Claus. And Santa Claus kills people in very bloody ways with a sledgehammer and ice picks and icicles and a star on the top of a Christmas tree, and there's some really inventive kills. There's one that is so good, I could barely contain myself. It was so satisfying. Basically, I think if you like the opening scene before the title hits, you're gonna like this movie, because that sets up exactly what you're in for very well. Another thing about the film that I loved was the exploration of Santa Claus's backstory. They do it very briefly in tiny moments. There's these little flashes of what he may have been at some point in time. And it kind of gives the movie this weight that I did not expect. If you really overthink the movie, though, you can start to ask too many questions. Like Santa Claus says he's been alive for like over 1,000 years. And you're like, okay, so like, can he be killed? Is there any concern about that right now as he's fending off these criminals? Because at some point in the movie, he bleeds and he sews up the wound, but obviously he doesn't die. And so you're like, okay, so like, what's the deal? Like, is he mortal? Because he's not. He's been alive for over 1,000 years. So like, where's the concern? He needs a weakness or something along those lines, which the film never really provides. But that's if you're like me and you sit there overthinking the shit out of things, and you really should just be enjoying David Harbour killing people with a sledgehammer. That's where you really should be at. You shouldn't be like sitting back going like, I wonder if like Santa Claus could really be killed and if I should be concerned. If anything, this movie is a testament to just how perfect the Die Hard formula is and why movies like Speed have been so good when you can take elements of a movie that was so incredibly great like Die Hard and basically make a ton of movies that are similar and just switch things around, and it becomes acceptable to do that when you can say, yeah, I got Die Hard on a bus. Well, I got Die Hard with a Santa Claus. That just shows you how great that movie was, because this movie is very exciting and very funny and surprisingly heartfelt. I found myself wrapped up in the emotion of this little girl who just wanted to believe in something, and the film was able to have a real, genuine Christmas heart at its bloody center, which I really got to give them credit for. Guys, I just really enjoyed this film, and I will watch it again in future Christmases. I think it's a great time. There is one thing about the film, though, that I would have changed, and that is a big spoiler. I will give you a massive warning here. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to talk about the very ending of the film. Spoiler warning. At the end of the film, Santa Claus is dead. He's been shot, and they bring him back to life by saying they believe in him. They're not saying they believe Santa Claus is real. They're simply admitting that this man saved all of their lives, and they believe in this man. He raises up, and they're pretty shocked by that. And then he turns to his right, and there's all of his reindeer. And he says goodbye to the little girl, and then he flies away in his sleigh through the clouds. And not once during that sequence do we ever get a reaction shot from the adults going, holy shit, that really was Santa Claus. And I was just waiting for that cathartic moment where all of the adults realized that the little girl was right the whole time. And I don't really feel like we got that when they were saying that they believed in him and that brought him back to life, because it seemed like they were just saying they believed in the person who saved all of their lives. It didn't really feel like they were actually saying, yes, I believe Santa Claus exists. So I just missed those reaction shots. It seemed like a very necessary thing in that moment. But still, we're getting into stupid territory here. I really enjoyed this movie, and I hope you guys see it in the theater. It's good to see movies like this, because this is just like pure creativity being thrown at the screen that a bunch of people just thought would be fun. And it is. And I wish that more people would support it. So go check this one out this Christmas. I do think it's worth your time. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.